back in the open session. Okay, no decision was made and no action was taken in the executive session. Now I need approval of the minutes from February 3rd, 2025, regular scheduled meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes for February 3rd, 2025, regular scheduled meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of February 3rd, 2025. Second.
Second.
Have a second. No discussion. All in favor, let me know by raising your right hand. The minutes are approved. There are no public comments at this time. Okay, doke. All right. Board business action, donation of $9,050 to the Marlboro County School District from Domtar for the STEM program. So David Johnson, Principal Johnson. $9,050 for the STEM program.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are here to share with our board, our community, this donation from Domtar for our STEM program. We have Mr. Simon and Mrs. Boatwright. Mr. Simon teaches engineering. Ms. Boatwright is a biology teacher here, and they are our lead for our STEM program here. And we thank them for all their hard work and constantly pouring into our kids and pouring out to our community. And as a result, we are here to share that we have a donation from Domtar for the amount of $9,050 to Marlboro County High School.
Yeah, to make a difference in that. Okay, well, as you know, make a motion so the board to accept the.
Mr. Chair, I move that this board accept $9,050 from Domtar.
Yeah, I have a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor, let it know by raising your right hand. Thank you, Domtar. Motion has carried.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Add any zeros.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the Superintendent's Report 2025-26 academic calendar. Dr. Ballard.
I am presenting tonight to the board for approval the 2025-2026 school calendar, which was option A that was put into your packet. We're asking for approval.
Is that the same calendar that we're on now?
Kind of.
It's still a modified,
Yes.
yes.
Still a modified.
What's the difference in this one and the last one?
There are more days out during the Christmas break.
There are more days?
Yes.
And we'll be starting school early.
Yes. Teachers come back earlier for one full week, and then that next week, the kids hit it Monday morning.
So
For the full
kids
week.
start school July 28th.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
I understand that from what I read, a survey was administered to all employees. Do we have any input from the parents? I'm just curious because 3 weeks out for Christmas, I didn't know if that was going to cause a hardship to anybody. Did we ask that question?
We did not.
We did not.
Did
Okay.
we get a copy of calendar B? I didn't see one.
What we did was we brought the calendar that the teachers voted that had the most votes. We can go back and we can ask parents.
I would, because as a parent, I just feel like my kid's summer's getting cut really short.
I mean, I understand what we're saying about that, but this is basically the same calendar they had last year, except for it's a week earlier.
We just started a week.
And they got the same amount of time to adjust. If we on the same calendar, I want to see why we want to hold the calendar up. We run it in the same calendar that we had last year, just for a week earlier.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
But y'all-
I think
it's
we're
just
just
good.
starting a couple of days earlier.
It
We
looks like
started
3 days.
July
Because we-
1st last time.
3 days earlier.
Yeah, which I mean,
Couple of days earlier.
Basically the same calendar. But whatever pleasure of the
Well,
board.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept calendar, Plan A for the new school year.
Have a motion to accept the calendar for the 2026 calendar school year. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any other discussion?
I have a quick question.
Okay,
How would this affect us if we have summer school, since they're coming back that early?
Battle.
As far as summer school, we will still have our time in that we need to get in that's state mandated for our summer reading camp
Okay,
because we only go during the month of June.
thank you.
All right, good question.
I'm going to just voice my opinion. I still think that the parents may have some objections to this calendar. So, I mean, I'm concerned about that, but that's the only thing I'm concerned about. Starting a week earlier and not that's irrelevant, I think. But I'm wondering about that 3 weeks for Christmas. But I just wanted to voice my opinion on that. That's all.
And I mean, just in my opinion, I honestly didn't care for coming back July 31st. I just, as a parent, I would rather have more time at home in the summer with my kids, even that's just really early. But, you know, at the majority, we'll go with it.
Okay, any other discussion? I have a motion and a second, and we've had discussion. All in favor of approving the calendar, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed? Okay, motion is carried, 7-2. Thank everybody. Thank you, Dr. Bell, on that. Okay,
The second item that I have is the instructional materials selections for school year 2025-2026. That was also included in your board packet. We're asking for approval. These materials are the South Carolina State Department of Education approved materials in the form of textbooks, could be online materials and workbooks as well.
I like your footnote.
Thank you. Wanted to make sure I answer your question.
okay. Need approval on that.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the instructional material adoption.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve the material, instructional material adoption. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, I just had a few questions, Ms. Battle.
Okay.
So I noticed that discrete would be, the ones highlighted would be new potential classes that we offer.
Okay, not necessarily new potential classes. They're classes that we do not offer at this time, but because the textbook is up for adoption, we need to make a selection in case before the next selection cycle, we decide that we want to offer that course.
Okay,
Then the State Department has a record of our selection.
okay. So will, like discrete, would that be considered to be an elective or a special course? Or?
No, these are all math courses that carry math credits.
Okay, so it would be considered a core class?
Correct.
Okay. And once we adopt or purchase new curriculum, how do our staff, like just kind of give me, an example of, we buy this discrete and then a staff member, a teacher, do they get time to kind of assess? Do they go to trainings? Just they review the curriculum?
This process right here is just the instructional materials, not necessarily the curriculum. We get together with teachers as a division to develop the curriculum based on the standards from the State Department. What the teachers do get is we allow or ask the publishing company to come in. They have a group of people who come in and train on the textbook. So for all of the new materials, the ones that are new textbook, when we come back in the fall, during our professional development days, we'll have time where they'll come in and get training on that.
Gotcha.
But a lot of our teachers don't wait until then. They take the materials home during the summer and go over them themselves.
Okay,
Ready?
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on that? Okay,
Carry the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
yep, that's what I'm waiting. Can I get a vote? Approval on it?
We don't got a second.
You already got a second?
We already got a second.
Okay, all in favor? Let me know by raising your right hand. All right.
Thank you.
Materials.
Thanks, Dr. Bell.
Next on the agenda, we have principal academic update. Um, go straight to the data, right?
Yes, sir. We want to share some data for our EOC predictions for the high school. As you see, corner right here for Algebra 1, 2024 percentage here, and this year we're presenting to move forward at 68.12 for biology, passage rate 57.32. This year 67.07. English 2, 69.6. Here we have 67.81, and in U.S. history, 6.81, and the projection 65.97 for this upcoming EOC in the spring, the high school. Thank you.
Question on that?
Yes, sir.
Y'all want a minute to look at the data? Basically, everybody sees the percentage of passing projection. So if we meet those criteria projections, we'll be in a lot better position. That's so those are the goals. So these are the predictions of our goals. Right, Mr. Johnson.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. All right, that would be fantastic. We can get there. Let's keep pushing hard, work hard at it.
Good evening, everyone. Want to present the data of current projections for 24-25 school year from McCall for meets and exceeds right here. Some highlights at third grade, we're looking at 67.8% growth. Fifth grade, 48%, and 45% for eighth grade for ELA. We have some areas right here that we're working on right here in ELA for fourth grade, as well as sixth grade, and also seventh grade. However, we're right on target right now where we are to at least meet projections from last year. But also keep in mind, we still have another 9 weeks to go of instruction, and we have no doubts that will also increase. Looking down at mathematics, once again, in third grade, we project a 69% SE rating rate score for third grade. Fifth grade at 34%, which is a large increase, as well as 25% here in seventh grade. Once again, the fourth grade area we're working on, and these areas are about right on track right here. The fourth grade area, briefly, we had kind of talk about it briefly if you have a question. We had a long-term sub beginning of school year. We secured a certified teacher, so we're seeing positive movement in that classroom right now.
Let me make sure I'm understanding what you got up there.
Yes, sir.
Let's just take the mathematics fifth grade.
Yes, sir.
We're saying the expectations were 23% of the children at 2023, 2024. When you were projecting that 24, 25, you're gonna have 38% that's going to.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Based on the current diagnostic data that we just received in winter.
Okay, well, that's my question.
Yes, sir.
Does that include your 23.4? So you're actually improving 14%? Or you see 38% more of your kids are gonna be than the 23? Is it gonna bring it up to 50 instead of what?
No,
Okay.
No,
All
so I
right.
get the projection for that.
So the 38 is the amount of kids.
Yes, sir.
All right, and so, and then meet or exceed expectations in 2023, 24 was 15%, but you're thinking you're gonna get 34% in 24, 25.
Yes, sir. Based on the current iReady data, looking at the typical growth as well as the stretch growth of where the students have already taken that diagnostic in winter.
But the 34% is less than your 38. You're approaching projections of 38, but you're gonna meet or exceed 34.
Yes,
But that's just, wait.
This is a separate set of kids right here.
Yeah.
What this is, these kids have moved from does not meet to the approaching area.
Okay.
And these kids over here are the ones that we're moving to that meets and exceeds area. So they're actually two different groups of students. if that makes sense to you.
It's two different group of kids.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There's
What number,
upward
23,
movement. We have
24?
a group of kids that were in the does not meet
Correct.
category
Okay.
last school year. So his school has moved them up
Yes, sir.
to where they're approaching the meets and exceeds. So he has 38%, a projection of 38% will be approaching meets and
From
exceeds
23.
From-
Yes, ma'am.
from below.
38. All right, and the red numbers mean it's folks that you are hoping. You hadn't quite got there with them, is what you're saying. Still got work to do.
Yes, sir. These, based on our current data from the iReady, like I said, the iReady diagnosis, we just took the typical and stretch growth. We are making projections based on what we're seeing at this current time. Once again, keep in mind, we have another 9 weeks of instruction to go, as well as intervention programs and things we're doing that will help increase this as well.
I mean, like I said, I may ask dumb questions,
No,
but
sir.
the third grade, it jumped from 24 to 69. And like I said, I see the seventh grade at 43 gonna fall to 25. And those numbers were I'm just trying to get them straight in my head.
So they're two different. If you look at third grade SC rating now, the first two columns for third
Excuse me,
grade.
can you come and point to it so we'll know exactly?
Stop one. So third grade math.
Mhm.
Last year, 36.1% of our kids were getting closer to meeting
Yeah.
status. The projection is based on,
That's okay.
the projection based on iReady is that 24% for this school year will be approaches, which is okay as long as we're moving them from approaches into meets or exceeds. So if this number is lower and we're moving them here, that's a good thing.
Okay.
If this number is lower and this number is higher, well, it's not on that it does not meet, that's not a good thing. Because that means that we have more kids going back to does not meet. So this one, 31.2% of our students at third grade met or exceeded expectations.
Okay.
From last year. This
Okay.
is actually what they did. And based on the projections from the iReady diagnostic testing, if we keep going the way that we're going in third grade at McCall, 69% of our students will be in the meets or exceeds category, which is really, really good.
And that's why that approach number is lower, because we move some of those kids from that does not meet and approaches to that meet side.
Okay.
This one in fourth grade is red because it's lower. Okay? The iReady projection is lower than what the kids actually did last year.
Correct.
So even though it's saying 21%, we're not satisfied with that. We're going to bump it up, and this should really be 30% because you want it to increase from the pool. So this is what it's saying based on right now. If the kids took the test today, 21% would probably be in meets and exceed. So we know that we have some work to do here to get them higher than 28.4%.
Okay.
Does that help a little bit?
That helps. Like I said, the 69% was really jumping out at me because that's a lot of movement
It is a lot.
from 24 to 69.
Yeah,
And I was just curious.
That also is the class of our teacher of the year. Well, she's really good at moving students.
Okay.
Great.
Right.
Any other questions?
Nah, thank you.
I want to say, I think that iReady testing is more difficult than map testing. It is because my kids were scoring way better on map tests than they do on iReady. So I think that's pushing them and it's making them try harder.
Good evening. We'll start with the positive trends that we see here at Wallace. If we look at GLA, we're going to stay here in the meets and exceed category. When we look at our fifth grade students, last school year, 23-24, 29.7% of those fifth graders met or exceeded. We are projecting that 51% of our fifth graders this year will meet or exceed. But if we look back here, this is that same fifth grade cohort in fourth grade, and they were at 48.8%. So you see the growth that they're making projection-wise from 48.8% to 51% meets or exceeds. So we're looking at apples to apples here and oranges to apples. So different cohorts on what we're looking at for meets and exceeds. The same here for eighth grade. Last school year, that eighth grade cohort had 8.1% at meets and exceeds. We are projecting that they will have 58% meets and exceed. And if you look last year, that same cohort had 34% meets and exceed. So that is a big jump there as we project that 58% will meet and exceed. If we go down here to math, some bright spots there. Looking at fifth grade again, last school year, they were at 18.9%. This year, we're projecting 42%. Last year, they were 39%, so there's a small jump here. So we're constantly looking at growth and gain. When we look at our areas of red, those are opportunities for growth, and we are actively working to address those red areas. If you look at fourth grade ELA, last school year, they were at 48.8% meets and exceeds. This current cohort is projected to be 35%, but as this battle says, we are not satisfied, we will not remain comfortable here. We're actively working to ensure that they at least have 40%, if not over that, to meet or to exceed what the other cohort was last school year. You'll also see here for that fourth grade cohort, in third grade, they were 20% meets and exceeds. So although we're not where we need to be, there's some growth in the projection for that particular group. We have those areas of red once again in sixth grade ELA, fourth, sixth, and eighth grade math. And once again, when I stand before you again, my charge is to make sure that we have shown and done what we need to do as far as the movement is concerned to ensure that our students are meeting and exceeding those areas. Any questions?
I have one general question. Was last year, the end of the school year, the first time that these students took an iReady test because they were on MAP before that, or was that the year before?
We started iReady this year.
This year, but they took one at the end of the school year last year, right?
It wasn't an iReady,
Okay, so this is their first time really even seeing this, so they should be used to it by the end of the year.
Some great baseline data,
Mhm.
right? Especially for our third grade students. That's their baseline. iReady is a wonderful program. It adds a lot of tracking and
Yep.
progress monitoring for our students. So we are really keeping a close eye on that data on a very regular basis.
Yep.
Any other questions?
It seems like to me, with everything that's been presented from all schools so far, we target the red areas of concern that we would be on track to be in good shape.
And it's not if we are targeting those areas, we're being very specific. So our priority lies in those students that are in the red. We know those students, we know where they are, we know how many points they are away from meets and exceeds, so we have action steps in place.
Awesome, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Based on how you explained it, your seventh grade meet and exceed projections should be red, correct?
So which, are you looking at ELA or?
I'm sorry, math. Math. You went from 29.5 with your sixth grade, and they moved to the seventh grade, and now you're exceeding at 28. But the other ones you got them at red. I was just curious.
Yes, sir, I see what you're saying here. So if we look here at that seventh grade cohort from last year, that's where the red is noted. We're looking at trying to exceed where a seventh grade cohort was last school year. So that's why it's in green, because it's exceeding this area. But you're right, there was a decline from where that cohort was last year, just a small decline from 29.5% to 28%.
But keep in mind, we're not done yet.
Yeah, I understand that, but I was just going by the way she was presenting it. It should be red and saying we hope we're gonna move forward and get that extra. Okay, all right. Well, I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding what I'm getting.
No problem. Thank you.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Tiller. I'm here in response for our principal, Mr. Lawrence Deese, and these are our numbers. So let me read what he told me to read first. Current projections are based on typical growth from iReady, which you guys already know, second diagnostic data. We're projected to increase the percentage of students making meet or exceeds in each grade level for math and ELA. In math, the increases in approaches represent students moving from does not meet expectation to approaches expectations. And we put the following strategies and interventions in place. Math and ELA consultants, math interventionists, working with the Palmetto Project with support through the State Department, small group instruction, remediation on Flex Wednesdays, and after school programs. So as you can see with each grade level, Thankfully, we do not have very many reds, but we're trying to increase. So you see what we want to get, where we're at, to what we want to do. In all of them, especially in mathematics, I'm sorry, especially in mathematics, we want to try to make big gains. So if you see that 18.5, we want to try to get that to 36%. And also with the meets or exceeds expectation, that's the one, I'm sorry. And we want to make sure we get that number there so we can have positive. That's basically for all of it.
Do you have anything you contribute to why those numbers are so low though on the math 2010 and 16 on the exceed projections?
Well, to be honest, one of the things I think when we first, just like you said, we just started out. We're trying to make sure that we make sure all the numbers are where they're supposed to be. We want to get a good baseline and we want to go from there.
Also, Mr. Driggs, the other thing, Blenheim has been without a certified teacher in 7th grade math, so that's another issue.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why he mentioned the Palmetto Math Project that was presented to us by the State Department. So they have a consultant working with them from the State Department, and she's especially been working in that 7th grade, trying to provide instruction in the class that currently doesn't have a certified teacher. She contacted us last week and will be working with the other teachers and the math teachers at Blenheim to work on areas of improvement that have been identified to continue to move those scores forward.
And so that's exactly what I'm asking, what you just said. There's a reason, certified teacher here. I should say, we've got to do things to increase. We got to do things to make sure our kids get there. And we got to know what it is. This board needs to know what it is. Dr. Tiller needs to know what it is so we can move forward. And that's all I'm saying. There's got to be a reason for that. And you've offered me something there. There's got to be a reason for that. So we've got to do something about that. Okay, thank you very much.
I was going to say also, in addition, I think I remember the last time we gave test scores, there was an issue with Blenheim in 6th and 7th grade math before, too. So it's not something new. There's been an issue there for a while.
If you'll remember the historical data for Blenheim for the past few years, their scores have been low. But each year, they've been increasing.
Right.
They've been increasing every year. It's just that they started out so low that what you're seeing are less than 2 digits. So
Well, 2 years ago, though, Blenheim had moved up in the school report card. They had gotten average or whatever. They'd been below average, and they had moved up. But now it seems like we're going backwards again. But I'm just wondering.
that was based on student growth, which they had the low scores, but they were making improvement.
Okay.
So because they were making improvement, they were able to score higher on the school report card.
Because we were happy when we saw Blenheim coming up on the report card. Okay.
Like I said, that was on growth. How many certified teachers that we are lacking in Blenheim to have what we need to make sure that we have all certified teachers in every math, reading, everybody to get where we need to get? How many teachers are we lacking in
We don't
Blenheim?
have those numbers tonight. We can give you that.
I mean, how many are missing? How many are missing in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade?
I don't know the exact numbers.
But there are quite a few certified teachers that are missing.
Bring it.
I think that's what Mr. Driggs is asking.
Yeah, we
If we got,
as long as we're trying and we're moving forward, and we've got a reason why it's there, and you're telling me you think it's certified teachers will help, then that's where we need to be going in our school district, because we owe it to our students, our citizens, our children to try to make it better. And everybody knows that. Everybody in this room agrees to that. So there's no problem on that, but we just got to know the route to take. Thank you.
I think we appreciate the update and appreciate the progress in what they're doing, what you guys are doing down at Blenheim. And hopefully we get the resources and help that you need to get us where we need to be.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Want to share with you the data for Clio Elementary School. In terms of movement, want to highlight that our students who were 2 to 3 grade levels behind have made movement. As you can see again, 3rd grade, 29%, 38, 22, 36. So we've made movement with these grade levels, but also have made movement with our students in Meet to Exceed. So what we have done is been able to shrink our students who are 2 to 3 grade levels behind, but also moving them through approaches to Meets and Exceeds. We are not happy with where they are still, and we have worked to drill down to each one of these to identify students and make sure that we are highlighting with them what areas they need to continue to work on. With their teachers, we're doing the same, and we're doing that through our small group instruction, through our tier 1 instruction, which is just basic everyday teaching, and making sure that they're reviewing material with our students as well as our after-school program. But again, we are, based on the projections, we will see growth in all areas, but we want to continue to push because we at Clio know that we can get more than this out of our students, and working to continue to move them to being the best version of themselves. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Ms. McCall, the fourth grade is basically your slowest growth area as far as meets and exceed the expectation. Is that 29%? Am I looking at that right, or am I not?
Yes, sir. So what we have done with our fourth grade is continue. We've had a teacher that left in the middle of the school year, hired a jam up new teacher.
Right.
But we are specifically going in and we are doing the coaching.
Gotcha.
So myself, my assistant principal, my reading coach, we go in and model. We go in and meet with them to work on their lesson plans with them to ensure that what we want comes to fruition. So we're making sure we're hands-on with what we want to see happen in those rooms.
So let me be clear what you're telling me, that anytime you have a shortage or missing a teacher, you have a plan in place to step in and fill in,
Yes, sir.
fill in,
We are the plan.
fill that void, and so that can keep you on the growth.
We're gonna, no matter what happens, we're gonna make sure we move Clio and move each classroom. So wherever we have to go, we do what we have to do.
Then so you actually use an assistant principal
We
to go in and help y'all do it.
We just had a lesson today where myself and our reading coach went in the classroom. She modeled. I sat there with the teacher and whisper coach.
And a
So we
reading
make
coach.
sure that if we have a need, we're gonna figure out how we're gonna make it better. So we're continuing to work to move these numbers, and we're gonna make sure that we do our best to make sure that there's movement from approaches to meets and from not met to approaches. So we're gonna do everything we can to keep moving them.
That's some good news coming out of Clio.
Yes,
sir.
Teamwork
Thank
make
you.
the dream work. Good job, Mr. Clark.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to share the data to industry and immediate school based on our winter already diagnostic. I would like to first say that out of all our students that tested, we only had one student that didn't make any growth this past diagnostic. In 23-24, if you see, our approaches expectation was 28.6%. For 24-25, we're at 34%. Like to highlight our meet or exceeds expectations for 23-24 was 26.2. This year we're at 27%. Fifth grade approaches, we're at 38%. We're moving them from approaching expectations from last year to this year. Meets or exceeds 30%. And for our meets and exceeds right now for 24-25 would be 35% for ELA. In math, same way, we have an increase for fourth grade, meets or exceeds expectations for 23-24 was 21.4%. Now we're projected at 29%. Fifth grade, we did have a drop, where in 24-25, where the 23-24 was 48, 24-25, it went down to 37%. But right now, meet or exceeds expectations is 24%, and for 24-25 is 25%. We do have processes and procedures in place to where our fifth grade, our math was our highest last year. Our strong suit is math. We have TAs, and we have a strong fifth grade teacher who's actually going in on her planning and swapping out with other teachers to teach those classes to make sure that everybody is where they need to be.
I do want to say one thing about Bennettsville Intermediate School. Bennettsville Intermediate School was the only one of our schools to change their report card category and move up.
Good.
So kudos to them for that.
I like to ask Mr. Jacobs, is there any area or any teachers that you're missing in a core subject?
No, sir, we're not missing any teachers in the course.
No one has left or anything like that?
No, sir.
So you're fully staffed there and they're doing a great job.
Yes,
Seems,
sir.
sounds like.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a quick question for you also. Change, I got to go back and find you now. I was looking up there. Bennett, okay. On your fifth grade on math, like you said, you went from 48 to projections of 37. That's an 11% drop. I might have missed it, but did you say what you thought caused that?
Well, this is a different set of students, from what we had last year. So these are.
Okay, that would be your fourth grade moving up to the fifth grade.
My
Okay.
fourth grade moving up to fifth grade. So they were behind starting the year. So what we've seen now, so when we had our I-rated diagnostic, the students that are in the red, we focus on those lessons, those sessions that they need, and we're pulling them in small groups. A lot of those students, they're in our after-school program. So we're making sure that we're doing the learning that's focused on their need. Their Achilles heel is what we're focusing on, so we can move them from approaching to meets or exceed.
Okay.
So, when we had our last data visit with, Mr. Greg, our fifth grade students are actually moving from red to green.
Yeah, they actually do.
They're skipping the yellow, they're going from red to green. But
Wow.
all of them are showing
Yeah.
movement, so we're hopeful that when we do our next diagnostic, that those numbers will change drastically.
Okay, so you're working harder with the ones that are approaching
With the ones that are
is what you're saying. Okay.
Also, Mr. Briggs and board members, I wanted you all to see the relationship between the kids who moved up from fourth to fifth grade at BIS.
Almost
You
double.
have exponential growth in each area,
Mm-hmm.
ELA and math, which is certainly commendable.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah.
Good evening again. I wanted to share with you our third grade projections as it relates to I-Ready and our SC Ready projections. In third grade, when we look at the percentage of students in the approaching category, we went from 25.4 to 27% in ELA, and in the math, we went to 37%. But keep in mind that these numbers here indicate students that are moving from the red and moving into the yellow. So we're decreasing the number of students in the red category to the percentage of students in the yellow category. So that is a positive in that sense. When we looked at our second diagnostic for SC Ready, based on our projections in third grade, if we continue to move our students at the rate that we were moving them when they took the second diagnostic, which they will take a third diagnostic later in the spring, we're projected, if we continue on that trajectory, we're going to be projected 40% of our students in grades 3 and ELA to be at the meets or exceed category. For ELA and in math, we're projecting 47% of our students to be at the meets or exceed category based on our projections on how they did on the winter diagnostic assessment. And we have several things in place as well. One of the things that we did with our after school program is we first started and we targeted those third grade students that we really wanted to make sure that we pushed and we could identify. And so we identified them, and then we moved down to identify other students that we could actually help move and help us make progress.
So are y'all using like your bubble kids and doing small group with those?
Yes, and that is during our regular school day with small group instruction. We focus on our tier 1 instruction, and we also focus on our tier 2 instruction. We do have some students that we're providing additional support through with our reading coach who's going in with our teachers as well. And then also when we look at our students through MCSD and when we look at our students through the SIT process, and when I say SIT process, those students who need additional support in addition to the tier 1 instruction.
Okay.
So Ms. Douglas, basically telling me in the third grade, you're going from 25% to projected 40%, and then that's in third grade English, and the third grade math going from 23% and projected to 47.79.
Typical growth of how we did in the winter, and again, we're going to be testing again in the spring. So absolutely, that is our goal, to either hit that or exceed that.
Yes, sir. That's awesome growth. Come close to it. Good.
Thank you.
Good job. I just like to thank everybody for presenting tonight, all you principals. It looks like that we are on the right track, and we're going to address all the areas that we need to address to get us where we need to be at, and how crucial it is that we be there by the end of this December, because you all know where we're trying to get and where we need to be. And so good job on working things out. And I know Dr. Tiller's going to continue to work with you, making sure that everybody's doing what they need to do. But I got a question. And Dr. Battle, you may be able to answer it for me. We are allowed if a child takes a South Carolina Ready test and they don't pass, are they able to retest?
No, sir.
So no child
It's just one time during that grade, during that year
for the state.
for the state.
So you cannot retest.
Sir.
Yeah, I was just asking. So you whatever that grade is, and what would happen if that child can't be retested? They would have to make up courses or something.
I'm not sure I understand.
What would if they don't pass the test and say they're not ready to move forward? Would they have to take extra courses, maybe a summer school or something?
Normally, if a child is behind, we have offered summer school. This year, I think I mentioned a couple of times that we don't have the funding
Right.
for summer school this year, but we're trying to alleviate some of that in our after-school programs. We implemented the after-school programs that have been going since school started 4 days a week. So we're trying to address those issues with the after-school program.
But if that child does not go to the after school program and did not pass the test, so they just
retained in that grade.
Retain in that group.
It depends upon their overall performance. The test by itself
Doesn't solely.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
solely
determine
do.
that they're not going to pass. The only instance where we have, where the test is third grade.
Okay.
If they do not pass the test, because that's the reading test that says all third graders have to be reading on grade level. So the third graders are the ones that if they're not reading on grade level, they don't pass that test. They have to go to the summer school program, the summer reading camp, and then there's some other things that they can do
Okay.
if they don't go to the reading camp.
Good.
And if they don't do any of that, then we have to retain them.
Gotcha.
One thing that was brought to our attention from a recent meeting that Mr. Mosley went to is that throughout the state, reading is not germane to the Marlboro County School District. Throughout the state, we were told that if they retain all of the third graders that needed to be retained, 17,000, almost 17,000 South Carolina third graders would have been retained.
Wow.
Probably can go for us and nationwide, man.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
I
Bennett.
have one question. So we went from one type of testing to I-89, correct?
Only for benchmarking and diagnostic purposes, only so that we will know where our students are and where we need to help.
That's not the state test.
That's not the state test. That's our test to see how well our students are performing. One thing about MAP had been around for a long, long time. MAP has never addressed the mathematics standards from the time its inception. It has never addressed the math standards. It did better with the reading standards, and I worked on that committee. So I'm not telling you a lie when I tell you that. I was on the committee that determined whether or not it matched the standards, and they did not and still do not match our standards. iReady is much, much better. It gives our teachers more information on our students, helps them to drill down to exactly what each student needs and to meet their individual needs.
I have a general question. Our brand new first year teachers, do we do mentorships with them?
We do.
Okay, to teach them how to do better small group instruction with the bubble kids and stuff like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's through human resources.
Okay.
Mosley. And he works closely with the curriculum division on that.
Are the students given some instructions on how to test? Because I know as a paramedic, we had to take a national register test every 2 years. And over my 40 years, the test changes. And it's changed drastically. Earlier, like map testing, probably the paramedic test was simple. It asks a direct question, you give a direct answer. Now it's more into critical thinking. It's not just as simple. And a lot of people, myself, other people included, we took some classes on how to test. And it helped me. And I think maybe if we, and I'm sure the teachers do, make our students, and we can try to get the parents involved on the whole school year is based on these tests. And if we blow it, it makes us look bad, it makes the students look bad. And I know we could instruct the students and maybe we can figure out something, and I've been trying to figure out something to get the parents a little involved on how critical these testings are?
We do, testing, give testing skills, I wouldn't say workshops, but we work with our kids on testing strategies. And I have the testing director here and also the parenting person. Our parent educators also meet with our parents at the schools when they have literacy nights and math nights and that type of thing, to talk about what tests we're taking, our students are taking, and how they can help them at home.
Okay.
And what it looks like. The iReady is a more rigorous test that matches more of what the South Carolina Ready is. It's not just a what's 1 + 1.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep,
it's
yep.
a little bit more rigorous than that. And then for some of the tests, you not only do you have to solve the problem, you have to tell, sometimes all you have to do is tell how to solve the problem,
Right.
step by step. So we have to teach them those critical thinking skills.
Yeah, that's critical.
And how to justify their answers.
Right.
Because we can give an answer, but a lot of times we don't know how to justify it.
Right.
We just say, well, that's just what I got. Well, how do you know it's right? How did you come to that conclusion? So these are all things that we're working with our students.
Okay.
And Mr. Flowers, if I could just add, the other thing that we do is for our teachers with the teacher-made tests,
Mhm.
we have them to work with the same type format as the standardized test, as it's going to be.
Right.
For example, I'll use this as an example. 1 year, all third graders in the state did really bad because they didn't understand the terminology, and the teachers were not using that terminology with them. And the question was, using a graphic organizer, write an essay.
Yeah.
Well, the kids didn't know what graphic organizer was or what that meant. So they didn't do well because teachers were teaching it using a hamburger. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They understood that terminology, but they didn't understand graphic organizers. So teachers, we had to start using the same type language that's
For the
going to,
test.
yes.
That way it won't be the first time they see it.
Right.
And, yeah. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Thanks all the teachers.
I got one for
Doing
you.
a great job.
You mentioned, I guess you read a report, I'm assuming, 17,000 third graders were not,
Would have been retained.
would have been retained. That is exposing a concern. But did you happen to see what a solution was going to be for that 17,000 kids that couldn't read?
Just got that report, did you?
What they talked about a couple of things, and one of the things that they talked about is the fact that a student can only be retained in a grade
1 year.
one time.
Yeah.
And so the reason that it came up is because they're looking at a solution to alleviate that particular issue, but nobody has been able to put their finger on exactly what the issue is. They were just bringing it to light because one of the things that came up was they were looking at the data, and a lot of boards and districts were concerned, and they were talking about the fact that it is not just a local or regional issue, but that it is something statewide that they are starting to see. And we've got to figure out a solution statewide.
I wish I could talk to them several years ago because I've seen it for a while now. If you can't read, you can't do anything else. So, I mean, it's simple. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Ballard. Okay, next we have social emotional learning presentation by Hazel Ellison, Executive Director of Student Services. Hazel, how you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman Coachman, Superintendent Dr. Tiller, board members. Tonight I stand before you to present to you some information on how social emotional learning and mental health look in Marlboro County School District. On last board meeting, there was some questions that I hope that I have answered in this PowerPoint that was in your packet. Some of the questions were, What licensed counselor resources are available to our students? What external partners do we collaborate with to deliver social emotional learning services? What is the designated role of the social worker in supporting students' social emotional well-being? And what specific initiatives and programs are currently in place to provide social emotional learning services? Okay. Currently, we are partners with Care South, which Care South, their motto is engage with students. They assess students. They provide individual and family counseling with us here in Marlboro County. Right now, they provide us with 2 licensed mental health counselors. One serve McCall Middle School, Elementary Middle School, and Blenheim Middle School of Discovery. At McCall, well, we'll get to how many days, and one served Marlboro County High School. Right now, the caseload at the high school is 8 students. At Blenheim Middle School of Discovery is 8 students, and at McCall Elementary Middle, the caseload is 30 students. Okay. We hope to become partners with Tri-County Mental Health Center in the upcoming 25, 24, 26 school year. Right now, the district is looking over contracts to hopefully to be able to contract at least one more mental health person with Tri-County starting the beginning of the school year. We have previously, years ago, had a partnership with Tri-County, but they were unable to fulfill getting us another mental health person because it has been the last couple of years hard to be able to get mental health workers. So hopefully we will start that contract or be able to partner with them in the upcoming school year. Okay. All right, we have a social worker in all our schools except Marlboro County High School. At the moment, they have a vacancy because the social worker retired. We also have a social worker and our lead social worker at BIS, and that is just one social worker, but she has the role of lead social worker. That is Ms. Gaiman at BIS. So all schools have one social worker at the moment. School-based mental health services, Move This World supports the school-based mental health services in that it builds all students. Okay. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the role of the social worker in the schools. They provide individual counseling, group counseling. They also provide lessons, and they help students with personal challenges and their emotional well-being. Move This World, which is the curriculum that we'll talk about next, is the curriculum that we use here in Marlboro County, which is that serves the whole child. Okay. Move This World program with teachers and staff. It involves teachers and staff. Teachers teach students techniques for emotional regulations. So we do mindfulness, we do exercises and relaxation techniques into daily routines. They provide resources and strategies for parents to support their child and well-being and their well-being at home. We also have workshops. We conduct classroom guidance, SEL classroom guidance. We focus on the development of social skills, including communication, empathy, and cooperation, and create interactive activities to reinforce positive social interactions. Okay. Also in Move This World, we have the bullying component, prevention, where all the social workers once a month, they do classroom lessons with every grade level on bullying prevention. And we also have the Stop It app is a part of our bullying prevention that we have here in Marlboro County, that the students use their Chromebooks to be able to allow individuals to anonymously report safety, misconduct, or compliance concerns to help others, or connect with a crisis counselor from the crisis tech line to help themselves. So we also, the people that are involved with the Stop It app is the school counselor, the administration team, and social workers. That means they are the people who review to make sure who is sending messages or need to be contacted or need any assistance. We also have the 988 Lifeline this year through the state, which is a suicide crisis line, which is not only for suicide, but for any mental health issues, or for the good thing about this is it's for students and teachers and staff. We use this with our students, use this when they leave school. We still have mental health and our counselors and social workers during the day, so they don't use 98 during the day, but they do use it after hours and on the weekends. So it's 24-hour assistance for even if you just needed to talk, or even if you were in any distress in that day or any day of the week. So it's 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they have licensed mental health counselors across the United States. And again, that just talks about what component Move This World, what we use as bullying prevention here in Marlboro County to help our students and parents. Also, there's a health and wellness component in there, which we have daily videos to help students begin to create and regulate practices around well-being that they can carry with them throughout their life, and as they identify strategies and techniques that works best for themselves. We also have in Move This World, they have check-ins. They can have daily check-ins. All teachers have access to Move This World so that they can use them in their classrooms. Guidance counselor use them in their individual, guidance counselor and social workers in their individual counseling and group sessions, lessons that are already made for all students, grade levels, kindergarten, pre-K through 12th grade. There is a trauma component. Well, I'll go back and talk about with the teachers. We also, and with counselors and the social workers, we have a data component that we can now, this year, track their data, how many times that Move This World is used during the day, during the week. At most schools, they have also dropped everything Move This World as a school several times a week. Some in the morning, some in the afternoon, depending on the school. So hopefully, we will be able to track whether Move This World curriculum base will help us decrease of our discipline and decrease students' attendance. Decrease them being absent and increase students' attendance. Okay. And we have also a part of that Move This World, it's a trauma-informed practice. Move This World curriculum is developed based on best practices and research from the fields of social emotional learning and trauma-informed practices. Also at the bottom there, again, we have daily videos that give students and teachers time and space to process challenges and feel and learn more about what individuals are carrying into the classroom each day. Because this program hopefully helps serves the whole child, with us being able to help alleviate or being able to talk to or giving them the resources to help them be able to increase their academics and be more focused in the classroom. Okay, school-based mental health services. Move This World supports school-based mental health services by building all students' social emotional learning knowledge and providing teachers with regular opportunities to identify students who may benefit more specialized / individual and mental health services. So hopefully, also using this curriculum, the teacher and the school social worker and counselor work in conjunction to see who needs more services in their classroom. And the key findings, I'll just highlight two things at the end here that this research base will show if we use this continuously. Students who use Move This World consistently throughout the year saw significant decrease in incident reports from the prior year, discipline reports. And students' attendance, Move This World creates a school culture in which students feel safe and supported, which increases student attendance and decrease chronic absenteeism. So this program is used to build a culture in school, a culture that students can feel safe, students can get resources, parents can have resources, and we can try to use this program to serve the students as a whole. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, got any question?
Well, no, I just gonna make a comment. I'm glad you said that part about with parents, because I know how important it is now, especially after the COVID season, after everybody been locked down for so many years, and with the learning curve and with everyone being home on social media and coming back together. I do know it's very important that we do have social services in the school and connect back with the home. So we do thank you for what you all are doing with this program.
Thank you.
And I would like to acknowledge just with National Social Work Month. Thank you all. I am a big person I work with youth and it's always social emotional, but I do have a few questions. So I saw on one of the slides that it had MCHS 1 day a week, certain schools, certain days a week. Is that them coming here or they are reserving that time in their office for our students and families?
No, they go into the school at they go 1 day a week at the high school on Thursdays, and they go 1 day a week in Blenheim. At Blenheim, and then they serve 4 days. We have a person at McCall Elementary Middle 4 days, and that's because of a grant that they have, that CareSouth have. So so that person has to be there 4 days, and that person, Dr. Hennigan, serves also at Blenheim 1 day a week.
Okay. And then how is it determined which kids get to see the service? Like if it's not that, I'm sure I can request, but do teachers and other staff members say, well, hey, Miss Ellison, we suggest little such and such?
Yes, just like a council referral, when the teachers refer a student to the school counselor, we have a mental health referral. So the teachers can refer the student to for mental health referral. Any staff member, teacher, parents can refer their student can also for that referral. The only difference is if a teacher referred them, then of course we have to get parent approval. So that's how they do that. But through CareSouth, this could be some of the students who are already seeing CareSouth outside of the school building, but for convenience and for to make it sure that the student get all the resources, they're able to be seen at school, and the parent do not have to take them after school. Or take off any time from work to make sure that they get the services. So yes, but it is a referral base, and sometimes we use it when we have to have our behavior threat assessment. Sometimes that might be one of the qualifications that you get to stay in school is that you need to use these services or at least be seen by a mental health center and we do not preference just CareSouth itself, or when hopefully we make this partnership with Tri-County, we have a list. So parents can pick from anyone, but the convenience of being able to do the intake, the care, being able to see the students right then is just very vital. And also having the mental health and why it's important to have them in. Hopefully we'll have someone else next year also is because when we have students who that we have to send home for at-risk, to get their at-risk letter signed by a doctor or so forth. They can have that done at school if we have a mental health person there, because it has to be a mental health person. Our social worker and counselor, neither one of those are in that role. So they have to be a mental health specialist on campus. So that will alleviate being able to keep students in school more, cut down the amount of time they're out to get that appointment.
Good. And I know you may have mentioned it. I know you said one of them is provided by a grant, but then if a family needs services, do we have services where we're paying for it, or how's it billed?
No. So no, they come into our school. We don't, they have the clients. So we are not receiving anything from Carousel, okay? They have a office in our building, and they provide all the services, and so they do all the billing themselves. So we do not.
Okay.
I think Ms. Gaddy maybe want to know how do we paying the social workers that we have?
No, not our social workers, but
The
Carousel,
Carousel.
when they receive, is it their Medicaid? Do
Right.
we have funds to pay?
It's strictly, they do all their billing,
Okay.
all their billing.
Okay. Do we have enough social workers in our county, not district now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. And all that's federal coming out of federal funds, is that correct? Our social workers are being paid out of federal funds? Title I?
Social workers are being paid out of federal funds, but this is the last year that they can be paid out of federal funds.
It would go to general fund? Okay, there's a reason for that?
Yeah, the feds won't allow us to do it. They told us to stop.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So, I know there's a question about our federal funds that's gonna be in question, and how I know that may be affecting our free lunch program, but any other programs out till you know of that it's gonna affect us any other way?
No, sir, not at this time.
Not at this time? You don't know nothing? So pray that it don't.
I just have one more question for Ms. Ellison. So to Move the World, I watched some videos on it. So can you walk us through a day of Move the World in the classroom? Like, is it something that we are actually implementing to teachers, or the social workers coming to each classroom? If you can kind of share some information on that.
Yes, this is our first full year of implementation of Move This World. So yes, so if we say drop Move This World, the teacher may they could be having conflict resolution in the class. Because you want to make sure that it is something that is going on in real time. So it could be students not getting along with each other. So they do conflict resolution. So in Move This World, there's a lesson plan, there's a video, there's a mindfulness exercise for all grade levels. So they use that to start their day with that, if they're doing it in the morning time. If the social worker is going in, they do the whole lesson. They do the videos, they do the lesson, and then they do a group activity. So that's what they do when they go in. They are tasked to go in a classroom to meet each grade level every month. So grade level every month, because that's not the only thing that they do with SEL. They also have a caseload of students for individual and group counselors. But that's what they do, the social worker. So it can be used by both the counselors and the social workers, but the social workers go in and teach just SEL, just social emotional learning.
Okay.
And that they're able to see the students and to maybe meet some other needs. We do hear sometimes the older the kids get, the more they don't want to do the videos or so forth. But we say you don't have to do the videos. You can take choose different sections of it, but you have to do the lesson, because even though children say or act like they don't want to hear it, we might reach one person. And if we reach one person in that day, that classroom, that means a lot. So, and you always want to give children the opportunity to be able to see you in the hallway or at some other time to be able to approach you about things. So a lot of times that gives our social workers a chance for the students who don't want to say anything in the classroom, an opportunity to say things otherwise.
Well, kudos to whoever selected, because after the reviews on it, it's highly recommended and it's well respected throughout several aspects of national prestige. So kudos to everyone, you and the team. But yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. All right, financial report. Benjamin.
Good evening, Board Chair, Mr. Coachman, Dr. Tiller, board members. This time of the year, we usually, we've already sent out communication to our principals and to our department heads. Around this part of the year, we put in a hard date as when we want to slow up on our spending so we can get prepared for the end of the school year. So around March the 28th, we will cease on general fund spending only for necessity. So we're getting department heads and principals in the place and mindset to go ahead and prepare for the end of the school year. Go ahead and make those purchases now so that way when we get closer to the end of the school year, we can go ahead and wrap up the school year. So it'll be very hard for us trying to close purchase orders and try to maneuver and try to handle all that information and it's trying to close our books. So this part of the year, that's when we send that information out. I do apologize again. For some reason, I think our printer at the district office may be possessed. It's cutting off the percentages on the right side. So next month, I will definitely make sure I take a look at that before we put that in your book, in your board packet. The ideal percentage where we should be based on our spreadsheet should be at 34%, but we're currently at 46%. So we are above where the ideal percentage is right now. So if you have any questions as it relates to revenue and expenditure report, please let me know and I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? We in good standing?
Yes, sir.
We're in the green and or the black?
The black.
Not in the red?
No, sir.
That's all I need to know.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you, Mr. Benjamin.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Triggs.
If you're ready, I'm ready.
Anybody else
Mr.
ready?
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Flower?
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? Mr. Tom?
Well,
Raise your hand.
No discussion? All in favor of closing meeting, let it be known by raising your right hand. Meeting is adjourned. Good job, everybody.